Hello students, welcome back to Uplift Education Virtual Classroom. Today we are in the science lesson. Today in this video we are really going to discuss about the chromatography technique, right? This chromatography is a new topic that is introduced for all of us in this new syllabus, right? In the previous syllabuses this technique and this distillation process was not there, right? But when you say chromatography, different chromatography techniques are available. Today we will be looking at simple chromatography. We call it as the paper chromatography or cellulose chromatography, right? Chromatography is a technique that is used to separately identify the different components present in a mixture, and also sometimes we can use it to separate the components from a mixture, right? The very simple basic idea is like let's say I have some amount of water, and in the water let's say I am soaking a piece of paper, right? I'm just dipping only one end to this water and keeping the other end not touching the water surface, right? What happens is we can observe the water will be really absorbed by this paper, and it will keep on moving to the upper surface even though only the lower surface is touching the water, and you can see the water has moved to the upper portion of the water also, right? This is a natural process. Not only water, other solvents like acetone, ethyl alcohol, and many other solvents, even petrol, will obey the same condition, right? In the chromatography, we are going to use this principle here, right? What we do is we take a small apparatus, maybe some sort of tube, let's say a boiling tube, and we take some amount of solvent at the bottom. Let me take a kerosene or a acetone. I have taken acetone, and I have to make sure when I am keeping this piece of paper, let's say A4 piece of paper, I have to make sure that paper does not touch any of the walls of this test tube, and I have to make sure the upper portion also do not make a larger contact with the upper surface. So we hang it using a small hinge. Okay. So what happens is the water will start moving up. So when I have a mixture, let's say I have a mixture, let's say chlorophyll. You might have heard about chlorophyll. This chlorophyll is a small organelle present in the plant leaves. In the grade 10 biology, you would have heard about what is the organelle, what is chlorophyll, and all, right? This chlorophyll is a mixture which contains different color components in it, right? So we can dissolve this chlorophyll using some organic solvent which is highly volatile, and we can obtain a kind of small solution. We can obtain a small solution and we place on a little bit upper to the A4 sheet which is not dipped in the water, right? So once we keep the small solution or dot of solution on this paper, the volatile solvent quickly evaporates, resulting only the chlorophyll to be deposited on this paper, right? Now this chlorophyll, as I said, is a mixture which contains different components in it, right? So these different components have different attractive forces with the paper or the cellulose or A4 sheet that we are placing here. Okay, let me say I have, let's say for example I am taking three components as A, B and C. Okay, let's say I have the A has a really higher attractive force with the paper. Let's say A has a higher attractive force than B, and B has a higher attractive force than C, right? Based on the attractive force of C, we can see based on the attractive force of these components, the velocity of moving toward upward, right? Velocity of these components moving dissolved in the acetone or ketone, whatever we are keeping here, will be different, right? The component which has a lower attractive force with the paper will have a higher migration or higher movement. So this component will be C, right? And the other component that has a lower movement, we call it as the B, and which has a lower migration, we call it as the A, right? The reason why this component has moved is once the water or the water with the acetone or ketone, the solvent we are keeping at the bottom when moving, the components of the chlorophyll mixture also get dissolved and keep moving upward, right? So the paper is at rest, so we call this as the stationary phase, right? And the water or the solvent and the other components of the particular mixture keep on moving, right? We call these components as the migrating phase, right? This is a simple technique of chromatography, and there are so many other advanced chromatography techniques that we don't have in our syllabus. So finally we have arrived at the end of the unit called mixtures. So as a final part, we'll look at some important importance or the usefulness of these separating techniques, right? So in our previous videos we discussed about the solvent where we involving evaporation and crystallization process, right? So we'll have a small basic idea about how the solvent function and where we can locate these solvents. We cannot just build a solvent in all the places wherever we want, right? It needs some special conditions. What are those special conditions? Very first thing is we obtain salts from the seawater, right? So there should be access to the seawater. So when I say access to seawater, basically that means we have to build a solvent very closer to a coastal site, right? So in Sri Lanka we know we have solvents in Puttalam and another one in Hambantota, right? What the first feature is done, one is having closer to the coastal area, and the second thing is we need good soil to store this. We are not storing this in the built stores, we are really storing this seawater in soil, right? So when I say soil, we cannot look for a place closer to beach. In beach there will be soil may be rich of sand. You know the features of sand. If we pour water into the sand, it will quickly drain inside and we cannot store water. So the type of soil we need is a land which contains good clay soil to retain water in it. Okay, two features done. And the third feature, we know we are not you know about the evaporation and crystallization. We need to heat, right? So when we consider the salt, the table salt we are using at our home, it's not really expensive, right? So it's a cheaper thing. We cannot perform this in an industrial manner by heating with other equipment. So it increases the cost of the product, right? So we are going to perform the evaporation process in a natural process using the sunlight, right? So the third feature of the property that has to be in a where the solvent located is, the solvent location has to be a good place with a hot climate, with a bright sunlight and a strong wind throughout the year. Three features done. And finally, the rain is the most important factor. Even though we keep on evaporating these solvent for so long time, and if rain starts, our effort goes no use, right? So we need to choose a location with where it has a very low annual rainfall every year, right? So we have in Sri Lanka one is Puttalam and other one is Hambantota. Let's look at how these solvents are going to perform. In solvent we have three different types of tanks. One we call as the small tank, other one is we call as the medium sized tank, and we call the other one as the larger tanks, right? So when I say larger, medium or smaller size, that doesn't mean the size of the tank is small or large or big, right? The names are provided based on the component that is precipitate on the particular thing. Let me say using some pipes or using higher tide, we can pass the seawater into the first tank. The first tank is called as the large tank, right? In the large tank, these tanks are pit that is dipped in the clay soil and small boundaries are made, right? This is how the larger tank is made. In the larger tank, the water is stored for some time and we are allowing this to get evaporated. When we are discussing about the concentration, you might remember concentration is equal to amount of substance divided by the volume, right? So when we keep on evaporating, let's say when the volume reduces to half compared to the previous value, when the volume is reduced by half, what happens is the concentration increases by 2 times, right? So when we keep on increasing the concentration twice, let's say I have taken a concentration of C at this tank, after some time I will get a concentration of 2C. So once the concentration has increased, you know, some seawater contains a rich of salts in it, right? Not only sodium chloride that we are looking for, contains different salts. So in the first tank, the saturation level of the first salt will attain, and first type of salt will precipitate here. We call the salt that is precipitated here as the calcium carbonate. You know calcium carbonate is a white color solid that is used specially in cement industry, limestone industry and other sort of industries. So what we do is, after the concentration is increased to 2C, we transfer the solution into the next tank. We call this tank as second tank as the middle tank or the medium sized tank. Let's perform the term medium sized tank. This term is not wrong. The better term is medium sized tank. In the medium sized tank, we have transferred a solution of twice the concentration. But before that, the calcium carbonate precipitated in the first tank, this will be passed to the required industries, right? So now in the second tank or the medium sized tank, we have passed the solution with the concentration 2C, and we allow further to get this evaporated. Again, when the concentration decreases to half a level of its path, what happens is this 2C turns into 4C. That means 4 times the initial concentration, right? When the concentration turns into 4 times the initial value, the second salt attains its the saturation level. That is the calcium sulfate, right? The calcium sulfate will start precipitating at the bottom. So we can transfer the solution attain 4C concentration into the next tank with 4C concentration, and we can provide this calcium sulfate for the required industries that we don't consider here much. The third tank, we call it as the small size tank, called the small size tank or the third type tank, right? In the third tank, what we do is we allow further evaporation to carry out, and until the concentration turns into 10C or 10 times concentrated compared to the initial sea water, right? So once the concentration turns into 10 times, what we will get is our required product, sodium chloride, will precipitate at the bottom, right? So based on the industry, most of the time we don't require the remaining solution or the remaining water. We pass into the ocean or the sea back. We call it as the Madalika or bittern solution. We call this mother solution or the bittern solution, right? So the main component in the Madalika or the bittern solution will be magnesium chloride, right? Here will be magnesium chloride. So since we are not performing this in the under industrial condition, we are not exactly controlling to get the pure sodium chloride. In the precipitation of sodium chloride, we will have a little bit of this magnesium chloride as well as a little bit of calcium sulfate. It is the higher percentage sodium chloride and a little bit of magnesium chloride and calcium sulfate. To avoid the calcium sulfate and magnesium chloride, what we do is we make this as a, let's say I use this paste, we mount this into heaps, right? You might have seen even at least in movies, in salters these salts are placed in heaps, okay? Placed in heaps for about 6 months. The reason why they are keeping this as mounting this as a heaps is the calcium sulfate and magnesium chloride are hygroscopic and sodium chloride is not hygroscopic. What is hygroscopic? It's a hygroscopic. This hygroscopic is a nature of the salt to absorb the water vapor present in the atmosphere. You can easily think you're keeping let's say a Marie biscuit in table for like 1 week. Initially it will be so crystal or so hard or very dry, and when you keep it for 2 or 3 days, what happens is the biscuit gets wet and get soft, right? You might observe this. Similarly, that nature only called as the hygroscopic, right? The calcium sulfate and the magnesium chloride salts are hygroscopic, but sodium chloride is not hygroscopic. That do not absorb the atmospheric water. When this is placed as heaps, what happens is the magnesium sulfate and the magnesium chloride absorb the atmospheric water vapor and they form dissolved in the atmospheric water vapor, and that will be washed out, right? So after we are placing this heap for about 6 months, we can get the pure sodium chloride heap, right? After that, the sodium chloride, pure sodium chloride, something around 98-99% sodium chloride will get. So we call it as a pure sodium chloride. After we get that sodium chloride, we can add iodine to it and we can supply it for domestic use. So similar to solvents, we discussed about the extraction of essential oils. So we already discussed about what is the essential oil. The oils that we extract from plants with good aroma. Aroma in the sense with the pleasant smell or with fragrance, right? So we know we extract essential oil from cinnamon leaf oil, cinnamon bark oil, citronella oil, pepper oil, cardamom oil, nutmeg oil, clove bud oil, and there are so many examples that you can take your grade 11 science book for the reference. Also, you can check the reference that's given in your book for which part is used to get which oil and how they are separated and that kind of techniques. And the other one is the solvent extraction. We already discussed about solvent extraction, especially when it comes to essential oil. Some are extracted by steam distillation, which has a higher temperature, something like when it comes to cinnamon bark oil and leaf oil, even clove bark and some. And some other essential oil or plant parts can be extracted by solvent extraction, where they are squeezed and the solvent is mixed with water and some other organic solvents like chloroform, ethane, ethyl alcohol and many other things. With this, we are reaching at the conclusion of the bigger chapter called mixtures. Okay. If you have any doubts or questions or even suggestion and feedback, you are free to use the comment section. We hope to see you back in the next video with the next unit.